My transmedia franchise is the Twilight Saga. Twilight was written by Stephanie Myers in 2005. When it first appeared on the bookstands, the reaction people had were positive and did not know it would get to become one of the best books ever written that people would love and have a deep connection with. What inspired Stephanie Myers to write the Twilight book is she had a dream, and in that dream, two individuals were having a conversation in the woods. It involved an average girl and a vampire chatting about their love and blood, which eventually led us to a series. Readers are able to read more about the love story of Edward Cullen and Isabel Swan and see what else happens to them as the story progressed by book. Stephanie thought it would be something to help the franchise if it was a competitive team, so she figured it would be werewolves versus vampires. As one of the biggest successful franchises, Twilight has made its main official appearance as a book and later to a series, movies, comics, games, and etc. Each time Twilight makes another entry within the whole franchise, it is self-sufficient and displays a connection with the readers on its Twihards. Twilight made outstanding sales when all movies were released. The first Twilight movie made $69.6 million, New Moon made $142.8 million, Eclipse made $64.8 million, Breaking Dawn Part 1 made $138.1 million, Breaking Dawn Part 2 made $141 million. Also, they made Vampire Suck movie that made fun of the Twilight Saga fans, which also made a ton of money. To be exact, they made $36.7 million. One of the common customs of entry is going to the conventions. Like many conventions, Twihards get together to discuss, ask questions, and hear stories, and meet Stephanie Myers. There is a lot of merchandise to choose from, such as shirts, sweaters, dresses, jewelry, rings, blankets, purses, and wallets, and so much more. After each movie, a collectible is made. With these dolls that Barbie came up with, many people like that the Twilight dolls look exactly like the characters. This gives them something to keep the Twilight franchise going. Twilight has been well acquainted with social media. After each book or movie, Twilight interacted with the Twihard fans and gets their thoughts and reactions. Edward Cullen stepped out of when Twilight finished and did other movies. For example, he was in Remember Me. Bella Swan also stepped out of Twilight when it was over and did other movies. For example, she was in Adventureland. Many Twilight fans wanted to meet the cast and wonder how they can do that. So one of the ways they do that is by going to a contest and hope that they win. This contest was, if the winner won, they would go to LA Breaking Dawn Part 2 premiere. Twilight is a knowledge community. Twilight Saga is a community committed to everything Twilight-like. Members can post comments, concerns, tips, connect with others, and so much more. Through these communities, many fans have something to say, and they talked about Bella's wedding dress. Other franchises that are similar to Twilight are the Harry Potter, Hunger Games, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Enter the Twilight world, what once began as a manuscript to now transform to an entertainment and much more, making itself a very widespread franchise and giving many individuals something to remember, besides showing people's love can last a long time, although grassroots went from one thing to another, but impacted many people's hearts. I think this is a good example of transmedia franchise because it tells a love story that knows well and to some extent relate. It utilizes many of the platforms such as social media, merchandise, books, movies, and games.